So big news in the AFL world. The league has finally revealed what it's going to do with the father-son academy bidding. And it's not the lockout like many predicted. Like we said on this channel, we think it's going to be a little pussyfooting around it. So Carlton fans, Port fans, Cody Walker, Dougie Cochrane, they're still in play. The rules change in a big way. But the AFL wants to stop power clubs from gaining the system and means a new set of restrictions that could change the draft as we know it. So who's affected? How might it look? And what does it mean for your club? Let's dive in. So let's start with the names because these changes aren't abstract. They're hitting the very best talent of potentially 2026 and a lot of clubs. Brisbane, this will affect Matthew Owen, Caelan Murray, Cooper Hodge, who are all Lions prospects, and Hawthorn's father-son in Luke Hodge. Carlton, Cody Walker, the father-son, son of Andrew, potentially a top 3 selection. Essendon, they have Blake Justice, a classy midfield forward. Fremantle, they have Lucas Robinson. He was the under-16 MVP. Gold Coast, Archie Hill, a rebounding defender. GWS, they have Ethan Matthews, a prolific ball-winning halfback. Hawthorn, Brisbane, they've got father-son Cooper Hodge, who has set the world talking in his academy games. Marcus Prasad from Melbourne, a small forward with a little bit of X-factor. North Melbourne have got Sammy Harris, Daniel Harris's kid. Adelaide, they have Dougie Cochrane, NGA player. He is potentially another top 3 player. Richmond, they have Tanner Armstrong and Archie Daffy. St Kilda, Rowan McKenzie and Quinton Hoffman. Sydney, they also have Guy Jenkin and Aidan McCartney, who was also talked about earlier. West Coast, they have Garrison, Kenneth, and also Harper Banfield, whose brother goes through the draft this year, and Noah Braun, son of Michael. And West Bulldogs, they have Levi West, son of Scotty, and Khalid El Souki. This is why the AFL have to tread carefully. They didn't want to lock out everyone. There is a lot of players coming through. Big names as well. Cody Walker, Cooper Hodge, Dougie Cochrane, from families and AFL Academy ties. But at the same time, they don't want teams like Brisbane and Gold Coast stockpiling elite kids every year and barely a dent in their draft hand. So, well, why is the AFL changing it? Well, this is why the shift is coming. Brisbane, we did some examples last year, cheaply splitting picks for Levi Ashcroft. Nick Dacos came very cheap. Geelong, they are a masters of the draft and haven't really manipulated it in recent years. There is a big equalisation factor here that Gold Coast and Brisbane are continually doing it. And it's very easily exploited, as we've shown on this show for about 5 years now. So in their words, they want to restore a bit of draft purity. If you want an elite father-son or an academy player, you're going to have to pay. And you're going to be paying full price. So what are the changes that we know? Because the AFL, as usual, are as vague as anything. Here's what we know. There's going to be a ladder base zone. The higher you finish, the stricter the rules. It's going to be a 2-pick cap. So you can't stack 5 or 6 picks to match a bid. Now it's 2. And it looks like they're going to scrap the discount. They've had it at 20%. It's now at 10%. It looks like it's gone or going to be further slashed. We've been advocating for it to be slashed forever. And a slight little wording here on pick proximity. You need picks close to where the bid comes in. One top 5 bid could wipe your entire draft selection. The message is simple. You can still land your man, but the days of getting him cheap are over. So let's look at the vague areas, right? Everything is fairly easy to understand. The zoning one. So model 1 could be a tiered access picks proximity. So bottom 10, full flexibility, can match with points and obviously not have that restriction of being in the first round. The lower half of the top 8, no discount, must use picks within 5 of the bid, and top 4 must hold a live selection in the top 5, i.e. if the bid comes in 3, the worst you can have is 5. An example of this is, let's say Carlton are in the top 4, Academy bid at 3, they must have a pick in the top 5 or they can't match. The other model they could go with is like a weighted zone. So top 4, 2 picks, no discount. 5th to 8th, same 2-pick limit, maybe a 5% discount. And bottom 10, more flexibility, still got to use 2 picks, but a full 10% discount. So example in this model, let's say Port finish in the top 4, bid at 2, they need 2 picks to cover the cost. Splitting later picks no longer is applicable. So let's do a working example. Let's take 2025's rules and use today's draft ladder with bid and matches. So the Allen compensation. If the bid came in at 2, that's 2,481, discounted to 2,233. Carlton would have to use pick 11, 30, 39, 48, totaling 2,018, short of 215 points. That debt, though, can carry on to 2026. So that means their first rounder next year would drop, let's say if the ladder finished the same, from 11th to about pick 16, resulting in Walker is secured with a basket of later picks, what the AFL hate. So let's look at 2026's potential. Let's say the bid comes in at second, 2,481. Max 2 picks. Carlton used 1,205, pick 11. They still need to find 1,276. That's pick 10. So Carlton would have to do that, otherwise they can't match it. Result, no more pick stacking, more premium capital, and more ability to promote trades, and teams benefit from player trades. So here's the reality. The AFL hasn't banned father-sons or academies, but they've made it far more expensive, especially for the top clubs. The days of cheap stockpiling are over and manipulating the draft. So what do you think? Should the AFL protecting the draft pool from a compromise or punishing clubs for building pathways? I'm a personal believer that I think even though this rule should stay, we need to make it incredibly harsh, and I'm willing to look at this one. I am annoyed the AFL aren't giving us the full ins and outs. Hopefully this video, though, has given you a little bit of an insight to what it is. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and until next time, Pom out.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.